Yes, my old friend, I've come to talk with you again, because a vision softly creeping left its scenes while I was sleeping.
Federal health officials say as many as 1 million Americans may have been infected with the AIDS virus, and more than 12,000 are expected to develop the deadly disease next year. Now, that would double the number of cases since 1981 nationwide. Here at home, the dramatic hearings concerning a child with AIDS attending school in Queens continue. The protests seem to be quieting down, but there was a lot of confusion today about a surprising statement by that child's lawyer yesterday. Barbara Laskin reports.
I don't want any of you to assume that my client has AIDS. We'll come to that later.
Again today, there was more doubt cast as to whether or not the plaintiff in this case has AIDS. On the witness stand, Dr. Ari Rubenstein, a renowned figure in AIDS treatment, who said he knew of no child with AIDS who had ever shown improvement after being diagnosed. This seems
short boat ride from bustling Manhattan. The forbidden site has been strictly off limits to visitors, but now a campaign is underway to change that. Dateline's Aaron Thomas joined two women determined to visit the island, hoping to find where their stillborn babies are buried.
It's New York's secret island. This grainy footage is one of the few times that what occurs here has been recorded. This mass burial site is where the bodies of the city's destitute and unknown, both adults and babies, end up.
The babies or fetuses are all buried in one particular part of Potter's Field. The posts over here signify which hospital the infant comes from. There are 2 or 3 burial days a week here. The coffins are buried 3 deep in trenches. The burial detail made up of Rikers Island inmates.
Today, no cameras, cell phones or media are allowed onto this forbidden ground. And nor are the people whose loved ones are buried here.
It's been different. I might still be living here, then I, had a totally different life, so.
It was 18 years later that I happened to be listening to the radio and heard this tiny soundbite somehow that just mentioned briefly Hart Island as being a Potter's Field. And I thought, oh, Hart Island, maybe I should look into that.
Hart Island is currently uninhabited, but in its checkered history, it's been home to a hospital, prisons, internment camps, and even a missile base. The first mass burials took place here in the 19th century, and the island may well have kept its secrets were it not for this woman.
The mass burials there started in 1875, and it was kind of a modern approach to organizing all of the death that occurred in a big city. And it was, a landscape cemetery and not meant to be this dark.
Melinda Hunt is an artist who got involved with Hart Island almost by accident during a photographic project more than 20 years ago.
And I would say this is one of the first photographs in 1991 that we took.
Melinda became intrigued by Hart Island's history as the mass burial site for New York's poor and unidentified.
Each one of these markers that you see here represent 1,000 children. So just that little group of 3 is 3,000 infants.
A few years ago, Melinda got special permission to make a documentary about the island.
I was in 5 months in Hart Island, and I buried well over 700 bodies. And that's not even, gonna say babies. Because babies would come once a week, 40 or 50, and now it's just, it's just a little box, and it's just, really, really wild.
How are you?
I'm well. I'm well.
I'm sitting back there like sweating and churning because all these memories are coming up and it's just like, wow, that's a lot up in there.
Right. I'm actually nervous too because it's like telling the world, especially the people who know you.
And isn't it ironic that after all these years, there's a stigma underneath that?
Absolutely.
What is the stigma? Shame.
Mm-hmm.
Some sort of shame. How long have you been diagnosed?
I've been living with HIV for 9 months. Last fall, I started getting sick, and I never got better up until a friend of mine pointed out that I was sick all the time. I moved out on the 1st of December of last year, and then I got my results 4 days after. So it was a lot. As soon as I saw that it was reactive, my entire body almost shut down. I could not say a word.
For me, I had slept with about, I think, 7 people at that time. I was 23, I think it was. At the time, nobody knew what caused it. It was bathhouses and poppers, and I had never gotten near either of those. That's what they said they thought it was. My roommate said, I want to go get tested for that disease. And I'm like, well, you don't do drugs. We went to support him, and we all got tested together, and we all got tested positive together. And Tony's dead, and Jim is still alive. I felt so alone, even next to somebody.
Absolutely.
Completely alone.
Researchers know of 413 people who have contracted the condition in the past year. 1/3 have died, and none have been cured.
Death didn't scare me. It was living with this for a long time. That's more frightening than death.
Today, researchers here at the National Centers for Disease Control said they had found several cases where people who had been sex partners both had the condition. The scientists say this probably means they are dealing with some new, deadly, sexually transmitted disease.
It's fascinating to hear your story because the reactions are almost the same. What was your knowledge of all of it?
I knew that science has definitely improved and it's become very advanced. I feared, not necessarily for my life, but for getting in trouble with my family. But I also knew that I stood a chance. I was told more than once by specialists saying that you are more than likely to die from a car accident than with what you have.
If I'm dying from anything, I'm dying from the fact that not enough rich, white, heterosexual men have gotten AIDS for anybody to give it. All the newspapers I read tell me that IV drug users and homosexuals still account for the overwhelming majority of cases and those at risk. AIDS is a test of who we are as a people.
Marks the date, 40 years ago, that American researchers first described a mysterious illness in 5 gay men. It was an emerging epidemic that would come to be known as AIDS. John Blackstone has covered this story for CBS News since the 1980s, and he returns tonight.
In San Francisco this morning, a wreath was laid under the redwoods of the National AIDS Memorial, dedicated to the more than 700,000 Americans who have died from the disease.
Dick Pavish, Douglas Wright.
Names were read and others remembered on a new panel of the AIDS Memorial Quilt. It's a project that started on sewing machines in San Francisco in 1985 to remember the first 1,000 who died, just the beginning of deaths in the city's Castro district.
The disease that has claimed so many lives here has also come to dominate the lives of many who are not infected. The doctors, nurses, and volunteers who've been caring for people since the mysterious virus first appeared.
And the vision that was planted in my brain still remains within the sound of silence. In restless dreams I walked alone, narrow streets of cobblestone, neath the halo of a street lamp, I turned my collar to the cold and damp. When my eyes were